Good morning. Welcome to episode number 75 of Driftless Knitting. My name is Jennifer. You can find me on Instagram and Ravelry as Driftless Knitter, and you can find the podcast on Ravelry if you search for Driftless Knitting under the Groups tab. There isn't much going on there in our group on Ravelry right now, but it's kind of a habit for me to talk about the Ravelry group, and on the off chance that soon I do a giveaway or a knit along again, which I'm really hoping to, there will be, activity in there once again, so it's good to know that at least it's there. To start out with today, I would like to say a very, very big welcome to everybody, really. I want to say a welcome to those of you who have watched my podcast before, and to those of you who are new viewers, I'm really, really glad that you're here. I always strive to make this a very welcoming and inclusive podcast, no matter, where you come from, what you look like, who you love, what you believe. You're welcome here. And I am very lucky to count you as a friend. So thank you so much for watching. And yeah, I'm glad to be back after 3 weeks. It's been 3 weeks since I've recorded. I was thinking that it wouldn't be that long in between episodes, but life has just been really hectic. Since the last time I recorded, we have had multiple snowstorms, ice storms, freezing rain, generally just chaos has ensued. I had to miss a couple days of work due to weather. I worked from home a bit and I made up some work on my days off, which is why, I haven't really been home by myself in my apartment to record an episode in a few weeks. So that is why I am taking the opportunity today, even though today is my only day off this week. I worked last Monday. Oh, today is the 11th of February, by the way. It's Monday and it's about 11:30, almost 11:30 in the morning. I made up some time last Monday at work because, like I said, I had to stay home 1 day, 2 days, was it 2 days? I think. I can't even remember anymore. My days are so mixed up now. It's felt like the last 2 weeks have taken a month to go by because it's been crazy. And every morning it's, can I get my car started? Because we had insane cold temperatures here. And it was, can I get my car started? Okay, once I get my car started, can I make it out of my parking lot? And once that, can I drive on the highway? Is that cleared? Or I haven't even, there was a few days where I couldn't even take the route I usually do. I had to take a more traveled route on some of the larger highways because the roads I usually drive were just impassable. And so it's been a constant sort of in the back of your mind, what's going to happen tomorrow? Will I be able to do normal life, or will I have to, figure something else out? And that can be a little stressful. It definitely is. It's stressful not to just be able to count on your normal routine. And I'm grateful that we have been okay the last couple of days. It did snow yesterday again, and I think it's supposed to snow tonight. I don't know. So I'm ready for this crazy winter to be over. We didn't have bad weather all through November, December, and into January, and it hit about mid-January and it hasn't stopped since. So yeah, it's just been crazy. I'm used to it being a little more spread out than this. But anyway, you did not come here to talk about the Midwestern United States weather. I am coming to you from Wisconsin, by the way. That is where I live with my husband, and I work in Madison, Wisconsin at Knit Circus Yarns. Just in case there are new viewers out there, I am the store manager, and I do a lot of sales and marketing and social media, and I do a little bit of yarn dyeing and a little bit of processing and things like that. But yes, so that is where I'm coming from. And yeah, to those of you who are in the Midwest, oh my goodness, hats off to you for surviving that cold weather. And on the flip side, oh my goodness, at the same time we were having, sorry, this is going to be the weather podcast for just another minute, but while we were having literally negative 50 degrees Fahrenheit, sometimes that was the temperature without the wind chill. Holy buckets. The other side of the world, in Australia and New Zealand, were having the hottest weather they've ever had. And it was just so weird to look at kind of the world map and the temperatures, and to see this crazy Arctic air coming down through the Midwest of the United States and Canada, obviously. And then on the flip side, on the other half of the world, having literally 120 degrees Fahrenheit. I don't know what that would be Celsius, but what? So yeah, our weather guys, our climate, I should say, our climate guys is kind of getting out of control, which is a very, very frightening thought. So because that's a frightening thought, let's move on to something a little less frightening, which is what I've been working on the last 3 weeks in my knitting. I am also drinking a cup of coffee. This is my second cup of the morning in my Jane Austen mug, which I got from my brother-in-law because he knows my love of classic literature. Oh, it's starting to get a little room temperature. Not the greatest, so let me set that down there. I can microwave it later if I have to. And let me start with some works in progress. I'm trying to think of the best way to sort of sort this out, because I have finished a few things, and trying to think of what I was working on right after I podcasted last time. I'll start with this because I think I worked on this a couple weekends ago, and I haven't really picked it up since, but I so enjoyed knitting on this again. This is also, it's a Jane Austen heavy, no, this isn't my Jane Austen bag. I do have a Jane Austen bag. This is my Little Women Louisa May Alcott tote bag that one of my best friends, my best friend, gave it to me for Christmas. And yeah, so I thought this was my Jane Austen bag, but it's not. Still classic literature, you know, there's a theme. So this has not surfaced on the podcast in quite a while. That is also a bit of a theme. I have another kind of long-standing whip that I picked up again, which I'm really, really excited to show you guys. But this is my Cozy Memory patchwork scrappy blanket. So yes, this, like I said, has not been shown in quite a while, but I decided that it just sounded like a really great thing to work on in the past couple weeks. I initially grabbed it and took it out of kind of storage for a weekend getaway that I was going to go on up north. This was I think this was the weekend after my last podcast episode came out. It was the end of January, and I was supposed to go up to a couple hours north here in Wisconsin to a cabin, spend some time with a couple of my really, really good friends to celebrate one of their birthdays, and it was going to be a knitting retreat. And unfortunately, that was kind of the start of this crazy cold weather that we had. And the morning I was going to drive up, it was about negative 15 degrees Fahrenheit. My car refused to start. The engine just couldn't take it. And by the time it warmed up enough, it was about -1. By the time it warmed up enough to probably get it started, it was just too late. It was going to be like a 3-hour drive up there, and then I was going to have to come back the next day because we were expecting a huge snowstorm, which we did get. And yeah, refer back to my talk previously about the weather. But the weather has been impacting life so much that it just seems weird not to talk about it. So anyway, I brought this along to work on it that weekend, and I ended up staying at my in-laws' farm. I went there the night before because it's about an hour closer to where the cabin was, so I wasn't gonna have to drive, you know, the whole 4 hours up there. And so yeah, I brought this along, and then because I wasn't able to go, I decided to just work on it there, which was really, really nice. And I got quite a few squares done. So this one here is the first one that I worked on, and this is a yarn from Spun Right Round. It is a 80/20, I believe, 2-ply, and I'm not sure what the color name is. The band is long gone. This is a yarn that I used in my Find Your Fade shawl, which is still not complete, but I used these 4 colors. This was my first color of my Find Your Fade, my second color, you can see that a little better, my second color there, my third color, and then my 4th. And I still have to put the, after I'm done using them, I have to put the 5th, 6th, 7th. But I wanted them to all be in a row. So I'm kind of waiting on that to add. That's why I didn't add squares here to round it off, because I'm still waiting on that one. So after I did that square, I did this one, and this, it's getting like, oh, there you go. That's a pretty good representation of the color. It's just like a really dark wine purpley red, and this was a one-of-a-kind kind of prototype color, a sample color from Knit Circus. It was a little mini skein that I got to go along with another like speckled yarn. I knit a pair of socks last summer, and this was the heel, toe, and cuff color for that one. So yeah, so I got those 2 done, and then because I couldn't add onto this side, I decided to add onto the top, and I added this green square on, and this is a Pagewood Farms BFL nylon blend, and this is the Ireland colorway. And I knit a pair of socks out of this. I actually designed my fairy tree socks out of this yarn, and you can see those socks in previous episodes or on my Ravelry page or on the pattern page. If you search for Fairy Tree Socks by Jennifer Runtag, it will come up, and yeah, you can knit them yourself if you'd like to, or just look at the pictures. So I really enjoyed kind of getting that back out because I love knitting with that for my socks. And then next to it, I added a Madeline Tosh Merino Light yarn. This is the Lichen colorway, and it is, Tosh Merino Light is a single ply, as you can see there, and it's a superwash merino, 100% merino yarn. Fingering weight, obviously. All of these are fingering weight. I don't know if I really need to say that, but I guess people do make cozy memory and like patchwork mitered square blankets out of thicker yarn, but I'm doing mine out of fingering weight and sock yarn because, well, yeah, that's what the pattern calls for, and also I have a ton of it. I mostly knit with fingering weight. That's my kind of weight of choice, so, and that's what is mostly in my stash as well, which is kind of an interesting, I wonder why I like fingering weight so much. That scared the crap out of me. I don't know what's happening. I think someone's drilling into the wall. Oh goodness. Okay. Let me just go look out the door and see what's going on here. Hang on one. Okay, so it's not happening, nothing's happening out in the hallway, so I'm thinking it's probably next door. I did think I heard like our maintenance guy going over there, so hopefully everything's okay. But my goodness, that was loud and frightening. All right, let's get back to it, shall we? Okay, so again, this is lichen. I knit my sister a shawl out of this yarn. So yeah, I really, really love this color. And I still have like half a skein of it left or something like that. So I could technically use it for something else. I'm not sure what, but yeah. So those are the 4 squares that I did. And I'm really, really happy that I got this back out. As you can see, it's getting kind of long. I do want it to be a few squares longer because, let's see, this like barely covers my lap, you know, with a little bit of like draping on either side. So I'd like to make it a few squares longer and then obviously grow it up by quite a bit. But it's slowly growing. I need to make a point of pulling this out more often, and just letting myself want to work on it. When I was packing for this trip, I'm like, oh, there's so many other things I should do. I should cast on these projects that I've been wanting to do, or, you know, finish some other like long-standing whips. Maybe, you know, my mitered square blanket, it's not important. I don't need to work on it. But I was like craving it. And finally I'm just like, why am I stopping myself from doing something that I really, really want to do? I didn't have a reason. It was just because, to me, like, because I know this is gonna be because I know this is gonna be a like long, you know, work in progress. I'm not expecting to finish it, you know, probably even this year, that it just gets put on the back burner all the time. So yeah, I want to make a point to allow myself, when I get that itch to add a square or to work on this for a weekend instead of, you know, something else, yeah, I want to be able to do that, and I want to let myself do that. So it was really great to get this back out. And pretty soon I will be able to add my next Find Your Fade colorway, because this is such a great segue. Jen, good job. Just kidding. Because my next work in progress is, yes, the elusive Find Your Fade shawl that I have had on the needles for about 2 years, and I haven't worked on it for about a year. It finally got brought out, and I could not be more thrilled. I'm so happy. This is in a bag. Sorry, my voice is a little scratchy today. I spent Saturday night into Sunday morning at my sister's with my nephew, well, with her too, and my nephew, who got croup, which was awful. Oh goodness, something is going on over there. There's a lot of stuff happening right now. Sorry, it's very distracting. So my nephew he was kind of sick with a cold, and then he woke up with like a really, really bad cough, and my sister took him in, and sure enough it was croup. So she was kind of staying in with him, and they've had obviously a lot of snow days and home time too, so she was going a little stir crazy. My brother-in-law had to go to like a work event Saturday night, and she was like, she didn't like pressure me, but she just sort of let me know like, hey, I'm gonna be home alone Saturday night with the sick kid, and if you have free time, and she only lives about 45 minutes away, so I'm like, okay, I'll come over. And it was really great just to have some time with her. I've only seen her like once or twice since Christmas. It was great to spend time with her, and then get to kind of give my nephew some extra snuggles. So, but now I'm like, and I know adults can't catch croup, the actual like like mute, you know, I don't want to say the word mucus on my podcast, but you know, the croupy cough that causes them to have all those like breathing problems. Kids over the age of like 6, or people over the age of 6, rarely ever get like true croup, but it's like a cold. It derives from a cold. So she's like, just like letting you know it's kind of a risk. So I'm like hoping that my immune system is tough enough to not catch that cold, but I woke up with a little bit of a tickle, so what are you gonna do? What are you gonna do? It's wintertime and I just hung out with a sick baby, so, you know, whatever. So anyway, this is a bag that was sent to me by Mountain State Stitches on Instagram, and she sent this to me for a giveaway 2 years ago. Well, yeah, it was about when I started my Find Your Fade 2 years ago for a literary knit along that I was hosting with another friend. So yeah, so she sent 2 of these bags. One of them I gave away and one of them I got to keep, which is awesome. And it has been, this poor bag has been holding my Find Your Fade since then, and barely gets to see the light of day. But now I have been carrying it with me all over, so it's been getting some love. But and I'm, of course, right in the middle of a row. That was not smart. Oh well. This is the aforementioned work in progress that I am now about more than halfway done with, which I'm so happy about. Okay, so you guys kind of already saw the colors. I can't talk in my mitered square blanket, but I'll go back over them a little bit. So this is the first color. So this first color, I can't even, it's a hand-dyed yarn out of Europe, and I can't remember the name of the dyer. I ordered quite a few of her colorways for my friend Amanda, who's a big like Lord of the Rings fan, and this dyer did a lot of Lord of the Rings like fandom yarns, and I feel like it was before that was really popular. This was probably in like 2013, and it was before a lot of yarn dyers kind of at least those that I knew of kind of got on board with the like fandom yarns. So we found these on Etsy, and she was like geeking out because she had all these Lord of the Rings like themed yarns, and I ordered 2 of them for her birthday that year or the year after or something like that, and then ordered myself this one, and this was one of her like travel themed yarns. This was based on St. Petersburg in Russia, and I think I was reading Anna Karenina at the time, and so War and Peace is one of my Leo Tolstoy, that's one of my favorite books. I was reading Anna Karenina, and I was kind of on this like, oh, and it was the same year that Russia was hosting the Olympics, so I was kind of on this like old world Russia sort of thing. And yeah, so I ordered this for myself, and I love the colors. I mean, that's just beautiful. But I knit myself a pair of socks out of this, and then I had, you know, a little less than half a skein left because my socks don't take very much yarn. I have smaller feet, and I decided to use it for my Find Your Fade because I thought it went really well with my second color, which is a old, I don't want to say old, it was, I forget what year that Lisa dyed this, but Lisa, my good friend who owns Abacus Dye Works, she used to be called Three Sisters Fiber Company, and she did some custom colors for the yarn shop I used to work at, Yarnology in Winona, Minnesota, and yeah, this was based on a photograph of some of the boathouses that are on the river right off the banks of Winona. There's a big community of houseboats there, and or boathouses. Houseboats are the ones that like cruise up and down, I think. Anyway, it doesn't matter. But yes, this was a really popular yarn. We sold it for one summer, limited edition, and yeah, I had a skein of the sock yarn, so I decided to use that, and I just love those two together. And then Lisa actually, because I was kind of thinking how I didn't have anything that I liked that transitioned from the boathouse colorway into the next yarn I was going to use, and she had this skein that was a prototype of the boathouses. So you can see it's a lot of the same kind of colors, but much, much lighter. And that actually was perfect because I was transitioning, like I said, from the boathouses, this dark, you know, teals and oranges and browns, to the much lighter spun right round colorway that also has teals and oranges, and you know, it actually has like a deep, deep purple in there too. But yeah, I thought that though, you know, this dark to this light was just too much of a contrast. Nothing that I could find, you know, I liked very much. So she was like, well, I have this really faded looking version of the boathouses. Let me see if that'll work for you. And it worked perfectly. So I have that. And then, like you saw in my blanket, this is the spun right round. I hate that I can't think of the name of it, but yeah, it was so long ago. And then that is transitioning now into this brighter. So my transition rows are right here. And then from about here to here, I have my 5th color. And this is, oh, there's a hair on there. Oh, it got knit in, of course. Okay. So this new color that I am now knitting with is off of a sock blank, actually. And the second part of the blank is super dark, but I probably won't even get to it, which is good. I wanted to use this part because I thought it blended really well with the last yarn. But this is from Darn Yarn, Minnesota, Darn Yarn MN, and I forget what this is called. It's something like Christmas is better with whiskey or something like that. She dyed these again about 2 years ago because I had it when I was trying to put my fade together, and yeah, and thought that they would go quite well together. So this is kind of a fun bright blue on the back, and then this like orangey, oh boy, that's like an orangey bright yellow sort of, and then those big red splotches. And it's kind of nice because it's a nice transition because the spun right round had kind of sporadic points of, you know, orange and dark blue, and then this one has sporadic points of red and orange as well. So I think they go really well together. The yarn that I'm going to use, so this is my 5th one, and then I think you're supposed to have 2 more for the Find Your Fade, so 7 colors altogether. And my 6th color is going to be another Abacus Dye Works of Lisa's yarn, so I think that will go quite well, although it almost looks more, it looks better with some of my earlier colors, I think, than with this one. That might be too much of a contrast, this bright blue to this more earthy tones, though it does have like a bright teal in there too. And I've kind of changed around my yarns a bit anyway, so we'll see what I decide to go with, but this one is supposed to be next. And then I have a 7th one upstairs. Part of me kind of wants to see how large the shawl is after I knit my 5th and my 6th color, and then if because I'm not like super settled on the last 2, if I decide to, you know, only do 1 more color after this, or I feel like I'll do at least 1 more. I'll at least do the 6th color and then see how big it is, and if it's kind of you know, a good size for me, then I might just bind off. Seriously? I have no idea what is going on today. Okay. Before I am evacuated from my apartment building, because apparently all the construction is going on, and hopefully that was just a test of the fire alarm. Probably was, because it's not going off again. But let me get into my last work in progress. This, I didn't get much work done on it, but you know, I'll show it to you anyway. This is my Visual cowl, which was my Advent knit this year, which I didn't knit at all during Advent. These were all mini skeins given to me by my friends Lisa and Carolyn, and we did an Advent swap, and I mostly knit this after the Christmas holidays because Christmas was really hectic and busy, and I did a lot of gift knitting as well, so I didn't get much done. But I have a really cute Sucre miniature Christmas cookie on there, and I think since the last time I podcasted, I think I've knit with 2 more colors. So this one, yeah, again, these aren't my minis, so I don't know where they came from or what they were used in, but I have done this speckly purpley green one, and then the teal. And yeah, I am now starting a new ball of yarn. I think this is a Madeline Tosh as well, Tosh Merino Light. So I'll add that on there. The one thing I'm kind of running into that I almost feel guilty about is I have a lot of extra yarn after I knit one of these sort of motifs on the cowl, and I don't really do I don't crochet, so I don't do like a granny stripe blanket or something like that. I know that's what a lot of people use their extra yarn from minis, you know, once they put a square in their blanket, or you know, do another scrappy project, they put the like scraps that you know won't make anything really anymore, they put that into like a granny stripe blanket. But I don't crochet, and I don't really plan on, I don't know, starting a big project like that just to use up my scraps. So I feel kind of guilty because I sometimes just end up throwing away like half of a mini skein. So I've actually been thinking about contacting some people that I know, like through Instagram or podcasts or something, to ask if they want like my leftovers to add to their granny stripe blankets. So, because I mean, a lot of them aren't big enough even to do another mitered square, so I wouldn't send them like with a swap or something. It would be just to, you know, to add a little bit to, you know, a scrappy blanket like that. But yeah, I haven't done that yet, but it's a thought that's crossed my mind. I did want to show you, before I go off the topic of this, I don't want to show you any of the pattern because it is a pay for pattern. Oh man, and my pattern just looks horrendous because it's been crumpled up inside my bag. But this is the Visual cowl. It is designed by my friend Carolyn, and it's kind of fun because it's a pick your own adventure cowl, pretty much. So you can choose based on the yarn that you have. You can go in order of the patterns that she has written out, or you can, you know, skip around based on the type of yarn that you have. Some of the designs are really good for speckle yarns or semi-solids or crazy variegated, and she kind of gives you that breakdown on the pattern as well. So that's a really, really fun project if you have mini skeins or an advent calendar or something like that, and you want to actually knit something that won't take you like 2 years to finish or 6 years to finish, like a cozy memory blanket. But my Visual cowl is residing in my cottage number 9 bag. I am in love with this bag, and I'm really happy to hear that some of you went out and bought one too. Someone commented on I think the last episode that she went out and ordered one for herself. So they are fantastic, and I love this bag so much. It's really cool because it has these handles. Once you cinch it closed, the kind of border on the top turns into handles. So it's genius, and I love all the little foresty animals. So yes, that is my cottage number 9 wintry bag. And yeah, those were all the works in progress that I worked on throughout the 3 weeks that I still have on the needles. I did finish a few things. I knit my sister a hat. I don't think I had started that when I podcasted last, but I don't have it. I gave it to her, but I can probably insert a picture here. And that was knit out of a skein of Aran weight yarn by Cloud Lover, a hand-dyed skein that I bought a few years ago at the Fiber Festival up in Minnesota. Shepherd's Harvest. Shepherd's Harvest Fiber Festival. And that was the colorway Nevermore. And she loves it. I just gave it to her this past Saturday, so when I was visiting. And yeah, she really likes it. The other not work in progress, the other finished object that I have, I can show this to you. And this is a hat that I kind of thought up and I was really excited about. It's just kind of a cable-y, kind of random cables, you know, throughout it. And I think I'm gonna release this as a pattern. It doesn't really have a plan right now. It was just kind of something I really felt like doing, and I had the right yarn, I thought, and I thought, hold on, I'll get to that. And I wanted to just knit it, and I did a stockinette folded brim. A lot of people are doing folded brims now, which I had this idea and I'm like, ooh, I want to do a folded brim because I love the clean look of it and everything. And then like the next day, I go on Instagram and Tristan of Dragon Horde Yarn and the Girls in the Yarn Cafe podcast, she posted a picture and was like, guys, I have a new pattern coming out. It's this awesome slouch beanie with a folded stockinette brim. And I'm like, okay, we were on the same like wavelength there. But yeah, so, but it does have a nice folded, clean folded brim, which I love. And it's a little slouchy, but not really. It's more of like a loose beanie, I would say. And I just kind of really like those crisscrossy cables throughout it. The only bummer with this, so this is a yarn by Earth Yarns, and it's a natural dyed yarn. It was dyed with blueberries, and it was a beautiful, beautiful pink, and I loved it. And then I washed it. And I don't know how obvious this is going to be on camera. I washed it in my Tuft Woolens wool wash, and then it dried, and I'm like, that's weird. Is that just the lighting that is doing that? Nope, it's not. I think you can see that, although it does kind of look like it's just the lighting, but it's not. It's splotches of gray and you can see where it was lying on the towel drying. It has these big splotches of gray, which I'm really disappointed about. And I understand that it's natural dyed, and that's the reason, obviously. But I hand washed it. I washed it in wool wash, very gentle. And yeah, I'm kind of really sad that the color got, I don't know, that it changed like that. I wouldn't have minded necessarily if it did it more randomly throughout the hat, because I don't know, it's like a grayish blue where it washed out. But the bummer is that it did it in these like streaks where it was folded. And I think that is because it was, the water was more concentrated there. It took longer for that part to dry. It's mostly in, I wonder if the fold on the brim, if that happened there too. I didn't even look. A little bit. But yeah, it mostly happened at the top here and then on the sides, these two sides where it was folded. So I don't know if I should contact them and let them know. Full disclaimer, they did send me this yarn to kind of try out and to knit with. I did not purchase this. I think if I had purchased it, I would have been a little bit more upset. And if it was something more than just a hat that I was trying out a pattern for, granted I was gonna, you know, write up a pattern and put this as the, you know, the featured hat, which now I think I'm going to knit it again out of something different, and just wear this one myself because I don't really mind it. I mean, it's a little discolored, but it doesn't super bother me. But I'm not going to put it on a pattern page. So that kind of stinks. I wanted to feature them I wanted to feature one of their yarns in a design, but I do think I'm going to take some pictures and maybe just let them know that this happened. I mean, they're professionals. Yeah, they know what they're doing, and I'm sure, you know, this is just sort of the risk you take when you knit with naturally dyed yarns. So, but anyway, I really like knitting it, and I love the yarn. It's so soft and squishy and wonderful. It's a worsted weight merino, 100% merino yarn, and again, it's from Earth Yarns. So yeah, it's beautiful. It's just unfortunately it got discolored when I washed it, which stinks. So that's the last thing. Ooh, my light just went out. I'm using too much battery. Okay, that's the last thing I knit. I actually did knit one more thing, but it's a new design, and it's not coming out for a little bit yet, and pictures haven't been taken of it and all that jazz. So, and my light keeps going out, so we're just gonna leave it. It's the universe telling me to stop yapping. So yeah, I will show you guys that when it is ready. I have another design coming out next Friday, February 15th, or this Friday, I suppose, since it's Monday. And those are the snowy cabin socks. You guys have seen those several times on the podcast because it took me forever to finish them. But they're finally ready, and I had some lovely test knitters knit them for me and give me a little bit of feedback, and I'm ready to put those out. So keep your eye out for those. Yeah, this Friday, and I'll announce it on Instagram too, but they'll be available on Ravelry. I think that's all of the whips, the FOs, and the new designs. Now let's go on to some acquisitions that I got. Okay, so I did get a little bit of yarn. I actually thought I did really well in January. I did a little worse than I thought I did. But we had, okay, in my defense, we had a trunk show with Lavender Loon throughout January. I showed you guys, I got some yarn from her, from that trunk show that I showed you in the last episode. And then I was getting ready to pack it up and send it home to her. And I had been looking at this yarn the whole time that trunk show was there, and I just could not send it home. I had to take it home. And that is this beautiful stuff. Let's turn this on for, hopefully it'll just go on for just a second so you can see these beautiful colors. I love this. The base is kind of like a creamy blush pink. There's darker pinks, there's some like super dark like bluey purple in there, and greens. Oh my gosh. And yes, I did get 3 of them because I'm crazy and I think I need another fingering weight sweater quantity. So this will maybe turn into something like the pavement sweater or something like that. I've been wanting to knit a pavement for a while, and this is, you know, that's my excuse. I'm like, I'll do, yeah, 3 skeins for a sweater. Psh, that's nothing. But I have a lot of other fingering weight yarn quantity or sweater quantities up there, so. But yep, there's Lavender Loon. That's her tag. And the best thing about, one of the best things about this colorway, I was hemming and hawing about it, and I didn't know if I should. I really loved it, but I don't know. And then I looked at the name of it, and the name of it is Because I Can. And I'm like, there we go. That's my answer. Yes, I'm gonna buy this. Why? Because I can. So I did. The next thing that I got, so that was a couple weeks ago. And I got a paycheck since then. And I'm like, you know what? This is gonna be my February yarn. And then I'm not buying yarn throughout February. Not a single skein throughout the rest of February. Thankfully, it's a short month. But we just got a new trunk show with Stitch Together Studio out of Iowa, and we have her yarn throughout the month of February. So if you're interested, you can come to Knit Circus in Madison and look at her yarn. But I absolutely loved this colorway and decided I needed to take it home. This is a DK weight, 100% merino yarn. This is called her Dreamy DK. And this is the blue nude colorway. So this one here seems a little bit more speckled and colorful than this one, but maybe they're just hiding. We'll see. If I do anything, you know, big where I need both of them, which, I mean, that's kind of the plan anyway, but then I might just alternate skeins if I open the second one up and find that, yeah, it's not quite as colorful and speckled as the first one. So yeah, I'll just alternate skeins, no big deal. But I love this, that brownie taupe in the background, along with the, you know, kind of cobalt blue speckles and dark brown speckles. It's just totally my jam. So I had to bring that home, and yay. That'll be exciting to figure out what to do with that. Just look at it for a while, because that's what I do with all my yarn. It's a collection. I have to remind myself of that and not feel too guilty. I love yarn. I was talking to somebody over the weekend who was like, I don't like having a stash, it stresses me out. And I'm like, oh God, I love my stash. Like, I do have those moments where I'm like, so much yarn, not enough time. Oh my God, what am I doing? And then I get so happy just by looking at all the beautiful colors that I have. And I'm like, you know what? It's totally worth it. I'm okay. I'm all right. I mean, I have a yarn budget. I do. I don't just like go out and order crazy amounts of yarn. And yeah, I don't really buy anything else for myself besides yarn. I can't remember the last time I went clothes shopping, so that's my vice. We all have our things. The last thing that I got was totally unexpected, but I'm really, really happy that I got this. I was at Joann Fabrics the other day to get some buttons. That is the closest place around here to get like cards of buttons for like sweaters and stuff. So I went there, and it's right by where I work, so no big deal. But I'm walking past this book display, and I always, you know, knitting books, craft books, I always kind of give it a glance. And look what I saw. The Japanese Knitting Stitch Bible. So I've been wanting to order this for a really long time. I just haven't gotten around to it. And there it was. I didn't have to order it and pay shipping. And it just has some really interesting stitch motifs in there that I am really looking forward to kind of delving into a little bit more, using, you know, some of the elements from it, maybe in some designs. What I like about this is that you don't have to take, you know, some of these are just so, I'll just like show you, there you go. I don't think you can see the chart there. But some of these are so like detailed and complicated, and I'm like, you know, I wouldn't take this entire thing, this entire chart, and put it into a design. I would take a little motif from it or an idea from it and kind of tweak it and make it my own. And that's what I really, really like about this. It's kind of an awesome jumping off point to where you can sort of take it, and I think I would simplify it down a little bit, because these like really, really intricate, yeah, really intricate designs aren't necessarily, and like multifaceted designs aren't necessarily my thing, but I do love some of the elements of it, and I think I'd break it down and use some of those elements. So I'm really excited to look at this a little bit more. I just got it Saturday, like I said, and then my Saturday, Sunday was really busy, so I haven't had a chance to sit down, look through it, and get inspired. But yeah, that's definitely something that's going to happen within the next couple of days probably. So okay, I think that's just about it. I am almost at an hour of talking, and I thought that this was going to be a fairly short episode, but I did talk about the weather quite a bit, so let's blame that. I am going to go get some lunch. It's just after 12 now, so I'm gonna eat a little lunch, and then tonight I'm actually going to the Madison Knitters Guild meeting. I know that this won't be uploaded and you guys won't have watched it by tonight, but yeah, if you are in the Madison area and you are a member of the Knitters Guild, or if you are interested in the Knitters Guild, definitely check it out. This is going to be my first meeting that I'm attending as a member. I have been there a couple of times with Knit Circus as a vending participant, but I haven't actually sat in on a meeting, and I decided, yeah, at the beginning of the year, it was something I meant to do last year and didn't get around to, or forgot about, or lots of different excuses, but this year I'm like, you know, I'm going to pay my dues, which is so cheap. It's so cheap. Oh my gosh. It's like $30 for an entire year of a membership for the Knitting Guild. Not too bad. So I paid my dues, I became a member, and I'm gonna go to my first meeting tonight. I am gonna keep an eye on the weather because, like I said, it's supposed to snow, and I think that it's about a half an hour drive, 25-minute drive from where I live to where the meeting is, so I gotta keep an eye on that. But otherwise, if you're interested, please consider joining. It is a fantastic group, and yeah, I'm really excited to get to know more people from that guild. So all right, thank you everybody for watching. I hope you all are having a fantastic week so far. Keep it up, keep going. You're probably about halfway through at this point by the time I get this uploaded, by the time you watch it. So thanks for tuning in, for coming back if you are a returning viewer, and for checking out the podcast if you are new here. If you'd like to subscribe to my channel, please hit the little subscribe button that's underneath this video. I would really appreciate it, or give it the thumbs up. If you don't want to subscribe, or if you're already subscribed and you know, just kind of want to give it some love, give it a thumbs up, and that just gets my podcast out to more people. If you have comments, questions, anything, you can feel free to put them in the video or in the comments below. And yeah, I think that's just about it. I think I covered everything. So I love you all so much. Be kind to one another, and yeah, do things that make your heart happy. And I'll be doing the same. I love you all. Bye.